So yesterday we had Josh Taylor versus Jack Catteral in a British fight. I thought it was very, very absorbing, and it was definitely better than the first fight that they had a couple of years ago. It was a lot more high paced. There was a lot more back and forth action. It wasn't as cagey. So for my money, definitely Jack Catteral was the right man to win. The decision was correct. I'm not so sure about the scorecards. I'd have to go back and look at it again. But I mean, there were some very wide scorecards on there. And we saw Bob Arum's rant at the end. I would need to go and watch that again. But for me, Catteral was the clear winner. And I have no complaints about that at all. Now, I haven't really watched Jack Catteral very much. Like, I watched his first fight with Josh Taylor, but I haven't seen much of him. In the first fight, I was impressed because he was quite cagey. He was able to control Josh Taylor. But yesterday, he looked very impressive. He was really good on the back foot. He used his jab very intelligently. He's got kind of, I was going to say like a B-Tech shoulder roll, but his shoulder roll and like the kind of Philly shell stance he's in is actually very effective. He makes himself such a small target that Josh Taylor really couldn't get anything off. Like, he was constantly missing with the left hand because he's such a narrow target. He stands so side on, and anytime that left hand comes, he just kind of dips down to his right or to his left in that southpaw stance. So it was difficult for Josh Taylor to catch him clean. Catterall's jab was landing very nicely. He was putting together flurries very well. And he also looked very powerful when he was throwing those flurries. Whereas whenever Josh Taylor landed, it didn't look like there was any conviction behind any of the shots. Every time I saw Jack Catteral land on Josh Taylor, it looked like he could hurt Josh Taylor. Whereas the opposite wasn't true for me. So Josh Taylor, for me, just doesn't look like he has any pop, doesn't look like he has any power. Could be that he can't make 140 comfortably anymore. Could be that he's just come to the end of the road and he's had too many fights and we're starting to see the decline. I mean, for me, he definitely looks in decline. I just felt that it was a very tentative performance from Josh Taylor. He tried to get in. He wasn't having success. Even with the jab, he wasn't having much success. Wasn't having any success with the straight left. Towards the end, he started to catch Jack Catteral on the inside a little bit with a short right hook inside. But it really wasn't having much of an effect on Jack Catteral. If we go back and watch the Canelo versus Caleb Plant fight, in that fight, Caleb Plant would use the bend of the waist every time that Canelo would come in. But Canelo adapted. So he would miss with a straight right, but eventually he started throwing a looping right to the body every time that Caleb Plant bent over to his right. And that's how he started to hurt Caleb Plant and open him up. So I thought that Josh Taylor could have done somewhat of the same thing yesterday. Every time that Catteral, in his southpaw stance, bent the waist and leant down to his left, Josh Taylor could have tried to throw a looping left hand to the body just behind the kidneys. I saw him do it a couple of times, but really not enough. Ultimately, definitely, like I said, the right man won. Jack Catteral looked very good, looks very sharp on the counter. And yeah, I would like to see him go forward and have some bigger fights with other people. In terms of a trilogy, it would be interesting to see, but I think that Jack Catteral has pretty much he's got his number. He's got Josh Taylor's number. Josh Taylor just looks like that style was all wrong for him. So yeah, I would like to see Jack Catteral face somebody else. He doesn't, on the surface of it, he doesn't look like the most glamorous fighter. He just looks like a bog standard fighter. But when you actually watch him, he's got skills. Like, he's intelligent in the ring as well. He's got skills. He's defensively sound. He counters well. And he was physically strong in there as well. You see, he'd bump him with the shoulder, just push Josh Taylor off. So where Josh Taylor goes from here, I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure there's much left for him at 140. Maybe he could try to go up, but we would have to see whether he's completely shot or whether he was just all wrong for this weight because he can't make the weight anymore. But anyway, you let me know what you think.